Greetings, Pokefans! Zack Attack here, and we are back with another draft league. It is Josh League specifically, and if you don't know, our buddy Josh, Star Supremes, and Mr. G, who is also a Josh, coach of the Philadelphia Flygons, have started a brand new draft league, and we were specifically invited. I didn't really originally intend to join this league. It just kind of happened because we started drafting about midway through IDL. And this is a late recording, so week 1 has already happened. Well, I want to talk about my team before I upload my week 1 game, which should come out later today, hopefully. So, we'll begin with our first Pokemon. Our round 1 pick, our Tera captain, the primary one, obviously. We ended up getting a real doozy. We ended up getting Urshifu Rapid Strike as our Tera Pokemon. Yeah, you heard me right. This thing as our round 1 Tera Pokemon. And we were like, pick 8, I want to say, in the draft. We had a very middling selection. And we ended up getting Urshifu Rapid Strike as our first Pokemon. Now, this Pokemon is very, very strong. Look at this thing. Look at it. I can't believe we got this as our first Pokemon. That's insane to me. Obviously, as you know, Urshifu is like the actual GOAT. It gets Surging Strikes and move that always crits. Having a game like a fighting type is already very, very good. Tera Water Surging Strikes is just going to go dummy stupid. And it gets decent coverage options too, like Ice Spitter and Poison Jab, Rock Slide, Thunder Punch. Like, I think this thing even gets Fire Punch too. Like, this thing gets a lot of very, very good, decent options. U-turn for pivoting, Trail Blaze, and Headbutt. It's a good Pokemon. The only issue I have with Urshifu is that it forces a lot of Rocky Helmet prep. But there are items like Punchy Glove and Protective Pads that do prevent that. So, it's not the end of the world. Well, obviously having a Pokemon this strong as your first pick that can Tera is obviously very, very good. Now, our next Pokemon, I wanted to go and get my Dragon early. And there was one Pokemon on the board that I actually had never used that I was very tempted by. Garchomp. Now, Garchomp is cool. I want that known right now. Garchomp is cool. Garchomp not only can be very offensive, look at it. It has the same attack stat as Urshifu and Machamp and Flareon for some reason. But it's got a very, very strong move pool. It can set up hazards. It gets both spikes and stealth rocks. It gets coverage for fairies in both Iron Head and Poison Jab. It gets a very good dual stat options: Earthquake, Dragon Claw, Outrage, Scale Shot, Dragon Tail for phasing, Crunch, Brick Break to break screens. Like, this thing can do some damage. Now, it doesn't get Dragon Dance, but it does get Swords Dance, which is arguably better in most scenarios because Garchomp is very naturally quick. Then we'll probably be using Shiny Garchomp more in the battles. You'll be asking why. And that's because you guys remember the Shiny Gible I found on my main channel over a year ago that I almost failed. called it my child, Zach Jr. This is going to be Zach Jr. all grown up. So I'm very excited to use Garchomp. And I feel very, very good about this Pokemon. Next up, I wanted to get my Fire type to pair with Urshifu and take care of those pesky grass types. And Psychic types too, because it's also part dark. So we decided to pick up an old friend from the ZDL, Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu made its very first appearance back in Pittsburgh since Season 1 of ZDL well over a year ago. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be twist surfing this thing about every freaking week. It's got a very good 100 speed tier. And I love Chi-Yu. Beads of Ruin is just fucking good in every conceivable possible way. And I'm super happy to have this thing back. I feel like I did Chi-Yu an injustice when I used it in the ZDO because I was a rookie coach back then, so I didn't really know what I was doing. And this is the first Pokemon I've drafted from that team since I took Quaquaval in the MLBBL. This is the only other Pokemon that has made an appearance back from that team. Sorry, Mudsdale. Eventually, but just not right now. But yeah, Chi-Yu, I'm super happy it's back. I can't wait to use this thing once again. It doesn't have the greatest coverage in the world, but we'll work on it. Next up, Electric type. Need a speed tier. And there's one very strong Electric type in this format that I haven't used that also provides you some speed control. One that I've seen put in a lot of work on previous teams. Thundurus Incarnate. I would have gotten Therian, but I wanted the Prankster T-Wave option and the extra 11 speed points. Because I felt like those were going to be very, very crucial and beneficial to what I want. Now, it does have equally good physical attack, which is okay because this thing also gets Defiant as an ability. So if I want to run physical Thundurus at some point, I can do that. But I do think that I'll normally be sticking to the Prankster T-Wave options. Probably be slapping up boots on this thing most weeks. I'm just very happy with Thundurus. Just coming to Pittsburgh. I do like this Pokemon. It's no uni. But it is stronger, and it does have legendary status. So, we'll see what happens. I'm very excited to use this thing. It can't Tera, unfortunately. We spent those Tera points at Urshifu, which I feel like was a better choice. A more respectable option. But yeah, no, we'll see what happens. Next up on the list. I want my Fairy, and I want it now. But I also want the old reliable Sticky Webs option. And as you know, there's one Pokemon here in Pittsburgh that is both a Fairy type and gets webs that we have had a plethora of success with. Rabombi. Now, I love Rabombi. This is my favorite Sticky Webber because it's fast. And also because it gets Quiver Dance, one of my favorite boosting moves. It is pretty much a Focus Sash bot, and a lot of these teams have very, very good hazard options. But because of how fast Rabombi is, I'm less scared of that I can easily get this thing in instead of webs turn 1. Because a lot of these teams do not have the greatest hazard removal options in the world. So, I'm very happy to see Babambi here. Personally, because I really, really like this Pokemon. Got me through some tough times in IDL, and I'm hoping that it will do so again. Now, our next Pokemon is going to be one that is our one and only for hazard removal, but it's a good option. And it's also our secondary Tera captain, Brambleghast. Now, I did have Brambleghast twice in previous seasons. I had it in the MDL low tier about a year ago when I had it, but I ended up dropping it for Driftblim. And then the other Pokemon I had, the time I had this was in the TBD. And I was going to bring it to my Week 3 game, but I didn't even get to play my Week 2. And it was my Tera captain in the TBD alongside my Bostiff and Wartortle, who I made Bostiff made an appearance in Week 1, Wartortle was going to make an appearance in Week 2, and then Brambleghast was going to make an appearance in Week 3. So all the Tera captains in that league were somewhat useful. And Brambleghast is somewhat of a useful Tera captain in this league as well. With both Wind Rider making it immune to wind attacks, and Infiltrator making it ignore things like screens and substitutes, I could see this thing being a very problematic Pokemon. It gets things like Strength Stat 2, and Leech Seed for very good support, and Spikes. So this thing can even be a secondary Spiker alongside Garchomp. We don't have a secondary Rocker yet, but we'll work on that. But yes, this is a very good, strong Pokemon that I have on this team, and I am very, very excited to bring this thing into battles if it has the right matchup and needs the right matchup. But if my opponent is like very keen on hazards, it's got a lot of hazards, don't be surprised to see Brambleghast in the lineup. I don't know if it'll Tera over Urshifu in matchups, but if it needs to, I would not be surprised. And of course, it's got decent stats as well. And honestly, its move pool is not that bad. Not terrible. There's like a one Ghost move I'm going to bring on this thing. It's going to be either Poltergeist or a Phantom Force. Likely Poltergeist. But yeah, it's got decent move pool options. Now, we got a few more Pokemon left. Next up, I went and get my Steel type and potentially a grounded Poison. One that can set up T-Spikes and maybe even be a sweeper in the process. So obviously, I got Revavroom. Now, Revavroom has two great abilities. Overcoat, which prevents damage from Sandstorm, but it's already been Sandstorm, it's freaking Revavroom. But it prevents damage from using of power moves and Effect Spore. Honestly, probably not as useful, because not a lot of teams have Effect Spore. Something the only effects Pokemon is Breloom. But most people just run Poison Heal on it anyways. And then power moves like Sleep Powder and Spore are more common. But I don't think Spore... I think Overcoat is makes it immune to Spore. it's really just Sleep Powder and Stun Spore. That's basically it. But so I'm probably going with the other one, Filter, most of the time, which lowers the damage of super effective attacks. And as you see here, it has great coverage. It gets Shift Gear, which is basically just a better Dragon Dance. Iron Defense, which I don't know if I'm using that as much, but it's an option. Very good poison coverage and Gunk Shot and Poison Jab. It's got Iron Head. It gets Temper Flare, Zen Headbutt, T-Spikes, high horsepower for ground, Haze to remove stat options because I don't have an unaware Pokemon, so I wanted something like that as an option. Parting Shot to pivot. And that was another thing I was lacking too, was pivoting. I have Urshifu that can U-turn and something that can Volt Switch, but I didn't have anything else beyond that. But now I have a Parting Shot Pokemon. So now that forces some clear amulet stuff as well. So that could be very, very interesting. So I'm very happy about that. Now our next Pokemon, I wanted a normal type. I didn't really have any way to resist ghost moves except for Chi-Yu, and Chi-Yu is not the bulkiest Pokemon this side of the Hudson Bay. So I wanted something to deal with those. So I ended up picking a Pokemon I have never used yet, Dunsparce. And the Dunsparce is going to end up being the Bubby for this season. It's got a very decent bulk and offense. It's not the fastest Pokemon in the world, but that's good because a lot of the Pokemon that I was picking up, like Revavroom, have like 90 speed tier or higher, and having the Dunsparce as an option to make sure I don't get crapped on my Trick Room felt like a good option to me. And it's also a secondary Stealth Rocker. So Garchomp doesn't always have to be the Hazard Mod, freeing it up to do other things. But this also gets one of my favorite support moves in Glare, one of my favorite set of moves in Coil, and the other thing it's Calm Mind too. It's got a decent special attack too. Like, this thing gets Boom Burst. Like, it can do both physical and special. It prefers to do physical, but it doesn't have to. And it's also a very good user of maybe Moringa Berry, Key Berry, Resist Berry, which you don't really Chopple, but it's a very good berry Pokemon. Leftovers can work on it, Citrus Berry can work on it, and it's got two very, very good abilities in Serene Grace and Rattled. Rattled boosting its speed when it hit by a bug, dark, or ghost move. I mean, it won't ever be hit by a ghost move because it's a normal type, but the other two, like, I could potentially see this thing getting knocked off at some point, or U-turned on. So definitely Rattled is still a decent ability on this Pokemon. And Serene Grace is just, it's Serene Grace, like, come on. Serene Grace is like the best ability ever. That's not one regard. So I'm going to love Dunsparce, I feel like. Now, next up, I had a few points left, so I wanted to go get some bulk, a reliable, decent Pokemon that's always been good in its introduction. And I didn't have a Psychic type yet on the team, and I ended up going with Cresselia. With Levitate, it gives me another ground immunity. Now, it is weak to Ghost and Dark, which I don't have the greatest resist to in the world. But it's a freaking Cresselia, and I don't care. I mean, look at these stats. Yes, it got 20 points taken off, both 10 in both defenses. However, it also got Lunar Blessing to heal itself and remove any status conditions. It's also a Healing Wish Pokemon, And it gets things like Moonlight too, so like it doesn't need to rely on just Lunar Blessing. It's a very decently strong Pokemon. Trick Room as well. Trick Through switch items around. Moonblast for fairy coverage. It even gets D-Gleam, Power Gem. Like this Shadow Ball, like this is a good Pokemon. Thunderbolt, yeah. Ice Beam gets Bolt Beam coverage, yeah. This is a good Pokemon. Calm Mind. It can do a lot of different things, dual screens. This is a very strong Pokemon since its introduction. I cannot wait to use this thing. It's basically just the Gen 4 version of Screamtail. That's basically what it is. It's very good. Now, at this point, I had 1 point left. So I was looking at Pokemon that could fit the 1 point option. I can't Tera this Pokemon, but I wanted something decent that could fit the mold of a silly 1 point Pokemon, but also isn't completely useless. So I ended up going with Blossom. And while I don't have a Sun mode, I do have quite a few Pokemon that can still learn Sunny Day, like Thundurus, for example. The main thing to have Blossom here is to use Quiver Dance and Synthesis and sweep my opponent's team. That's the main thing. It can also throw out Leaf Seeds and do a bunch of other crazy things as well. And it's not the fastest Pokemon in the world, which is why it needs Chlorophyll to get the Chlorophyll Sun Boost. Come in, set up, outspeed, kill a few things. I don't know how good it's going to be in a higher tier format because this is not low tier. If this was low tier, I feel a lot better, but it's not. But just having this as a backup secondary grass option and over Bramblegast, if grass looks good but not Bramblegast, I could see this coming in a potential matchup. But don't get your hopes up. It's still a Blossom. But yeah, that's the team for this season of the Josh League. Let me know how you think about it down in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. And make sure you guys stay goated. I am your coach of First Elixirs. My name is X-Tac. I hope you all have a glorious day. And I will most certainly see you all on the flip side.